Hi, welcome to Wrestling's Figure Forum. I'm Sessel Smith. This is Jason Horseman. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. Election night in America, and we're going to talk some wrestling.
Yes, let's get into some important things. Why don't we start off with the WWE, since it's your area. Why don't you tell us
It's not the area of expertise. It's the area that I endure. Let's see. SmackDown, the Jey Uso, the Tribal Chief, the Samoan Dynasty storyline continues. We had Jey Uso took on Daniel Bryan for a spot on the Survivor Series team. And they really made Jey look strong, and I think Daniel's out for a little while. I think that's kind of why they made Jey look strong, is because I think Daniel's taking some time off. That's what the rumor is. But other than that, there really wasn't much. The thing on Raw is going on still with Randy Orton. He's got The Fiend, and he's got Drew McIntyre, and he's got The Miz with the Money in the Bank briefcase. So you got all of that going on. You got Alexa Bliss. People really don't know where she's coming from. She drooled some kind of red pus on the show last night. And I thought it was kind of funny. You had Bray Wyatt kind of go holy S-word in the camera or whatever. So that was pretty cool. But WWE, again, it's kind of the same old stuff what everybody's talking about. It's really a boring thing. It's not really too much. And this show's really not going to focus on WWE too much because there's a whole lot of other wrestling going on out there, and we want to give that attention. So with that being said, we watched Impact today. And Impact was a pretty good show, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Impact was entertaining as always. I mean, they do a great job with their writing and the storytelling. Tonight, they continued on with what happened last week, which we didn't get to and all that. I was talking about who shot Johnny Bravo. The big wedding with Rosemary and then the lights going out. And, of course, who could forget Tommy Dreamer with his classic no little bit,
And he's got the hawk thing going. He's got the hair rocking and everything. It's pretty cool.
It's a tribute to Road Warrior Animal, with his passing, which was terrible, but he was a real beloved guy, and I know that Tommy Dreamer was one of the people who was a bit close to him, I guess,
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much a continuation of who shot Johnny Swinger.
Yeah. You had certain segments that went back and forth with Tommy doing interviews with the referee and each member, and all of them, claiming their innocence and their little bits of personal comedic bits, Swinger and the Diener and so on. So that carried on through the show occasionally, but there were plenty of good matches that were in between. The first one was for the Women's Knockout Championship with Su Yung against Virtuosa Dino Purrazzo.
Yeah, I like Su Yung as the champion. I like it that her characters come back, crazy,
Oh yeah, it's great to see the Su Yung character back. The Susie one was fine. It had its little creepy bits to it, but it's nice seeing that Su Young's back. The match was going on real good. There was back and forth. Definite good competition in the women's division there. It was a shame on how it ended, with it being a disqualification, with Kimberly introducing the chair into it, and Su Yung getting a hold of it and starting beating on everybody. So Deanna Purrazzo did win that match, but she didn't get the title because of the champion's rules. So, we'll probably see this one get redone, and I hope so, because I think it could be a really good match with Su Yung and Deanna Purrazzo, as long as Kimberly keeps her nose out of it.
Yeah. What was that all about going on with, how Su Yung won the belt to begin with?
Well, as a lot of people who may have watched or have seen the articles and stuff, that the original number one contender, Kylie Ray, didn't show up for the pay-per-view event, and Su Yung ended up being the person who took place. Well, through checking out certain websites and other informations, we found out that just yesterday, Kylie Ray put on her Twitter account that she has retired from wrestling as of right now. There is past history and cases of Kylie Ray having bouts of depression, and I believe possibly she may also be bipolar as well. And with the stress, mentally and physically, that wrestling can put on a wrestler, performer, it seems maybe it flared up again, which is unfortunate. But a lot of people in the industry, the ones that know her, worked with her, and just love her, upbeat attitude, all on Twitter actually wish her nothing but the best, and we wish her nothing but the best, because something like mental illness and depression is not to be taken lightly, So hopefully, maybe when she finds herself well in a better place, maybe she'll return. I could see Impact, saying, hey, whenever you're ready, you always have a place here. Everybody will. Hopefully we'll see her not too long away, but long enough to get herself a good place.
Oh.
So that's the most
Well said.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right, so moving on after that match.
Well, after that match, we did have another singles match. It was Trey Miguel of the Rascals going against Chris Bay.
I like the Rascals, you know that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable group. I love, these matches that Chris Bay and Miguel, they do. They have wonderful matches, high flying, high risk, always never boring.
Mm-hmm.
These matches are always innovative. You will see something new. You'll also see something that you're familiar with, like depending on the moves that they do, especially with the springboards and the dives that outside. The match was really good. It wasn't for anything, since it did both come off of that multi-person attempt at getting Reheat X Division Championship. And so it basically ended up coming down to Chris Bay hitting his cutter while leaping off backwards from the second turnbuckle, actually. And he got a clean pin over Trey Miguel, which, is it's nice to see, because Chris Bay, a few of his matches, you've seen a bit of underhanded stuff. But it's nice to see that he can pull out a clean win when he has to.
Yeah, yes, yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Shortly after that one, we did have yet another singles one that had the big LG from the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, going against the Norse little jokester, as you would call him, Ethan Page.
And we got Biscuits and Gravy.
Yes, the classic old Biscuits and Gravy.
I love that theme song. It's my favorite theme song.
It is. He does love it.
I like the North, though. Like I said, I think I said this last time. I think it's nice to have the titles on the strong heels and always having that babyface chase. So, I like the dynamic that the tag division has going right now, I think. I think the Good Brothers, in the chase, along with Motor City Machine Guns when they get back healthy. I like the North as champions.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The North, they held the titles for a full year. They went up against all different teams, whether it was the Rascals or Triple XL, LAX when they were there. They've proven that they have a very good cohesive unit, that they work well together. Very nice finishing double team move as well.
Yeah.
But this was a one-on-one match with the Good Brothers, because it sort of started, with the transitioning between them and Austin Fulton and the Motor City Machine Guns. Mm-hmm. So this was a one-on-one match, and in the beginning, LG was getting the upper hand. He was making Ethan Page look a little foolish, and Josh Alexander had to go in and do a little interference to get it a little more on the north side, some back and forth, some outside interference, but in the end, the big LG hit Ethan Page with a Savat kick, believe it or not, from a big man.
Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting, a super kick coming out of him. And he got the pin, and Machine Gun Carl Anderson actually held back Josh Alexander outside from sticking his nose in. Mm-hmm. But after the match, Alexander gets in, goes, attacks the big LG, and then hell sort of broke loose, and Carl Anderson got in there, managed to fight off the North. They ran off with the loss, but I think you'll be seeing these two fighting for the tag championship here real soon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's definitely where that's headed.
Definitely.
Yep.
After that one, we had a little segment of the locker room talk because it had Jordan Grace and Tennille Dashwood.
Not getting along, but getting along, I guess.
Yeah, tolerating.
Frenemies.
They're tolerating one another at the moment, and with the big discussion about the women's tag team title tournament going on in 2 weeks, everybody's looking for partners or already pairing up.
Yeah.
So basically, Jordan Grace was trying to talk Tennille Dashwood into maybe partners, but she decided to flip the switch and actually asked Madison Rayne, a former two-time champion, to be her partner.
And that was kind of funny in front of her like that, you know.
Yeah, you could.
Jordan Grace don't get any respect.
No love for her, but
No.
I'm betting she'll find herself a partner. Who knows? There might be a surprise. If I was Impact, I definitely would be looking for somebody to maybe bring in just as a shock thing, since that seems to be something they like to do at least.
And who are you thinking there?
Well, since her and the company have such a great relationship, and I think the fans would love to see it, is ODB, actually. You know, I mean, she's also a big, powerful, strong gal. I think they'd complement each other, and I think the people who would be watching on Access or on Twitch would love to see that as a duo. And who knows? I mean, if it goes well enough and the chemistry's there, they could end up being in the finals and possibly a winner. Why not? Anybody can win.
And now that Eric Young is back, maybe you can get a rekindle.
Hey, you
the
never
romance,
know.
right?
You never know. Maybe.
I liked that. You know, I liked it when they were together. I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, it was an adorable little situation when they put those two together. But who knows? We'll see. But shortly after that segment, we did get to see Moose in a little shoot. Him going on about the NWA title and doing his narrative and so on, and telling Rich Swann that his belt was number 2, not the top belt.
I'm trying to make the argument that since he won the belt at the pay-per-view Bound for Glory against EC3, that now it's legit with no arguments. Now you had to take it serious.
Yeah, it seems that he wanted to tell everybody his belt was the more important one, and showed a little footage of him knocking out his buddy, the Mac, out in the parking lot. But after he started talking about the Mac...
Yeah, he's taking a selfie with a fan. And
True. Yeah, he was doing a little
Mac's always
little
laid
thing.
back, you know? That's the thing. It's like, you can't, you know, when he gets, like, you know, intense, it's kind of weird, you know?
Yeah.
He's one of those laid back. He's like RVD. You know, they make a good tag team, wouldn't they? RVD and the...
That would be an interesting one.
I mean, you know,
Definitely
the attitudes and everything.
But, yeah, after he started talking about the Mac, well, the Mac decided to come out and put a little whooping on Moose. You know, I mean, they really got into it. So I see that as being the next little thing, because I'm sure eventually Moose and Rich Swann will face up with one another and all that.
Sure.
And... but I think right now he's going to have his hands full with the Mac, because the Mac is not a joke. That's a big guy who's got some serious moves and some serious agility.
Yeah, that Lucha Underground, when he was on there, he was one of the standouts, I thought.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't really know that much about him from back in the days of Lucha Underground, but when I saw his first 2-3 matches, I was curious about this guy, you know. I was wondering, I'm like, where's this guy been hiding, you know? I mean, a big guy like him who could do the standing moonsaults and sort of move like a cruiserweight really impressed me, you know. So, I think it should be a really good matchup with the power and agility and just the wrestling skills and ability and just the power that both, you know, they retain.
Yeah, sure.
But after we got done listening to Moose, we had the main event, which was, funny enough, a tag team match with 2 sets of singles wrestlers.
When was the, before we get to the main event, when was that segment where they showed the pictures? They took the pictures of everybody?
Oh, that was, I believe, the last segment.
Was that after
Tommy,
the main event?
I think it was, no, probably just before.
It was right before.
It was before the main event and maybe slightly before Moose's little shoot.
I liked that, though. I thought it was funny. It showed a lot of character in the photos. You know, the simplest things can really bring out the personality.
Had the little plate for like a booking lineup. At
maybe sometimes WWE overthinks it. You know.
Yeah, it
doesn't take much. You got a lot of personality out of those photos. So.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think that these segments with Johnny Swinger, I think they got some gold there. You know, comedy wise.
Oh yeah. He's definitely a comedic piece and can bring a little humor into a show. You want it to be too overly serious.
Sure. So anyway, yeah, the main event.
The main event was the champion Rich Swann with the former champion Eddie Edwards going up against Sami Callihan and the former heavyweight champion, just like Sami is, the Maniac Eric Young.
And you were bringing up how, cool, the two of them look together, Callahan and Eric Young, how they would have a really good feud.
I think it would be an interesting one for them to do a feud kind of thing.
I mean, the attitudes would click.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them...
A lot of violence.
I could see them working together for a short term, and then there'll be some little rift or some kind of thing in the story, and then just seeing those two come together and all that.
Yeah.
I think the feud would be immaculate. It would just be brutal and would really get the fans going and all that. But I figured that might be something that would be down the line, because two guys who are that similar and all that, eventually they're gonna butt heads about something, and it'll be something silly too.
Yeah.
So
but this match was pretty good.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. So what did you think overall on the show? You wanted to give it a read?
Yeah, I liked it. Also, I mean, we didn't kind of the reoccurring thing with Swinger, the suspects and everything. You had Tommy Dreamer come in, and he had the Sherlock Holmes coat on and the hat, and he was hamming it up really good. And I did make the comment that it would have been funny if maybe one of the segments they got Raven to come in, and just because of the history there, I know you did it, Raven. I wasn't even here. Now you're supposed to be here, right? So I did like that a lot. I like the show. I think Impact is entertaining. I look forward to it every week.
Oh yeah, I always look forward every Tuesday to catch it, enjoy, see how they work their stories and stuff, which it's always entertaining. At least for me, it is.
Yeah, definitely. What about ROH?
Ring of Honor. Yes. Yeah. Since we didn't really talk about it last week, we had the Pure Championship tournament was still going on. I'll just do a quick little go with that one there. The Ring of Honor last Friday was the finals. And the finals you saw Hot Sauce, Tracy Williams, and the Octopus. Oh my God, why am I blanking? Graham. Jonathan Graham. They were also going each other. They knew one another, and I guess they may be members of the same group, which is the Foundation Ring of Honor. Well, they were facing each other. It was a 60-minute time limit. The match actually lasted around 20, maybe 25 minutes. It was a good back and forth kind of match. It definitely had a lot of moves, counter moves, submission moves. We saw Tracy Williams actually get Jonathan Gresham to actually grab for a rope break all 3 times, which is something he didn't really do, but maybe twice in the whole tournament. Where Tracy Williams was a guy who, on average, at least did a rope break twice. We saw Gresham go after Hot Sauce's injured left shoulder because he's had separation issues with it in the past. So it's been one of the main reasons why he's never managed to get a singles title. But Williams, he tried going after Gresham's leg to cause problems there. A little time was set outside the ring. They have like a 20 count in Ring of Honor, unlike the regular 10 count in most companies.
Oh yeah, they're going back to the old days, huh?
Yeah, it's.
I remember 20 counts when I was a very young boy in like the NWA.
Yeah, Ring of Honor and New Japan are ones who like to do the 20 count. They like to give a little more opportunity.
It's more realistic, really, if you think about it.
It is.
Well, because in the WWE, what's the thing from like when we were younger? Procrastinate on that 10 count. There'd always be. I swear to God, you remember Earl Hebner? He was the worst. Earl Hebner would always come in, 1, 2, get in, come in, 1, 2, 3, get in, 1. No, it was the worst. So yeah, I mean the 20 count it's more realistic, it's more believable.
A 20 count is a lot more helpful in making the match seem like it's important. You don't want it to be one of those ones where, like, by the time they're at 8, they're still lying on the ground, and then 9, and he just automatically jumps up like he's getting off the couch. And then just at 9.5, he slides on the ring. It's like, okay, it's a little over the top, you know. I mean, if you were like that, it took you really 8.5, 9 seconds for you to get to that quick of an adrenaline rush. But so anyway, back and forth, a lot of great counters. I mean, if you're a person who enjoys watching pure wrestling, catch wrestling and stuff like that, these two guys were really great at it. In the end, you did see Jonathan Gresham fulfill destiny in his mind, becoming the newest pure champion. He was so happy, you know, he had his trophy, he had a title. He's also the tag champs with Jay Lethal in the foundation. It was something that was really meaningful to him. You saw the despair and the sadness in Tracy Williams' eyes from losing, but they still shook hands just like they did in the beginning of the match. A lot of respect for one another's abilities and capabilities in the wrestling ring. And I believe it's a type of title that they're going to keep around because it hadn't been, I believe the tournament hadn't been done in like almost 14 years. So
It's like the Grey Cup.
It's sort of like the Grey Cup from,
You know what I mean? Like,
MLW.
what was the last time they did the Grey Cup before they did that again last year?
I think the MLW's little Grey Cup, I think that was like over 40 years ago.
Oh, okay, well.
So, I mean, not as bad as
Talk
the
about
Grey Cup,
procrastinating.
but yeah, the pure championship title, I think it might stick around. It has had a lot of well-known people who were part of it. You know,
Is that similar to the Neverweight in Japan?
Not quite like the Neverweight. The pure championship is basically set under those kind of rules where it's a pure wrestling match. You're allowed only one punch to the face. So many, you know.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
It's about what you can do in the ring. It's not just anything kind of goes type stuff, you know. I mean, even after a third rope break, if you get caught in a submission and you go for the ropes, the ref's not going to break it. So you're, you know, either find a way out or just tap.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little twist. It's something that reminds me in Impact when they used to have the Grand Championship belt, you know, when it was 3-minute matches when they were trying to incorporate USC with like pro wrestling and stuff. It was like a special kind of like style match. Not something that was
I think when they try to merge something like, you know, not that the Brawl for All was a good idea.
Oh, no.
But I think that, you know, fans are used to just one type of, a certain way, you know, to take their wrestling. And when it's too kind of off the path like that with, you know, broken up, I think that's probably why it never goes over too well. But you have the fan base of ROH where, like, they're more purists, so they kind of understand that a little bit better, I would think.
Yeah,
it's not so much of a commercial audience. It's more
the Ring of Honor.
The hardcores.
The Ring of Honors are a little bit different. You know, they're used to seeing really good matches, not just the hardcore, hard-fought type ones. They do love that as well. They appreciate that kind of stuff. But when it comes to also the purity of wrestling and move-for-move kind of stuff and all that, they appreciate that just as much as they do the hard, violent, you know, ladder matches, tables matches, chairs, so on, you know.
Right.
So they're across the gambit of the types of matches. That's the one thing I like about Ring of Honor is that they give you one style and another. It's not just set under specific roof. And so, so we have a new pure champion. Hopefully this will be a title that they'll keep using and can show other guys how great they truly are wrestling. They're not just some brawler or anything like that, you know. So we had one other match on the last broadcast that came just before the pure title. It was actually a 6-man tag. It was EC3 doing his debut in Ring of Honor. And it also had the Briscoe brothers, who are lifers for Ring of Honor. They've been 11-time tag champs.
So EC3 in Ring of Honor compared to Impact, where do you think that's going to go?
Some people have speculated that because he's sort of a free agent, sort of floating around, but he has, you know, a good relationship and past with Impact, that maybe this could be a beginning for both Impact and Ring of Honor to reconnect with one another. I mean, at one time, I believe they did maybe share, you know, talent and all that, but things happen due to ownership of, you know, one side. But a lot of people, myself included, are hoping that maybe this will be a doorway, since Impact over the last year or two have been doing stuff with other promotions, such as, Border City Wrestling, Windy City Wrestling, House of Hardcore, AAA, those ones there. Maybe this will be a nice joining piece where Impact, Ring of Honor, and supposedly New Japan is going to probably renew their friendship with Ring of Honor in the sharing of talent or combination of promotions. There's one thing I'd love to see is I would love to see a pay-per-view cross-promotional thing happen with New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact, those three together with all the talent they have, tag teams, six-man, even individuals, or any of the women fighting one another. That would be spectacular. I mean, you could see stuff that you don't get to see ever, because some people have never wrestled in a certain company.
It'd be great, like Super Clash, wouldn't it?
It'd be like that, but greater. Something that they could use Impact's one pay-per-view that they use called United We Stand. Because it would be a great thing showing all these other companies coming together, joining under one flag, and saying, you know what, we're great, just like everybody else. We won't be ignored. Look at what we talent. More people who never watched Ring of Honor or never watched New Japan or never watched Impact could see somebody maybe they've not seen before because they're so dedicated to one or maybe a couple but not the third.
Definitely.
It could broaden, that person's aspect.
So. Yeah, the exposure would be great.
Oh yeah, exposure for all parties would be great, especially since New Japan has a dojo here in the California area where they do their show Strong, where it shows a lot of the American talent facing some of the...
Speaking of New Japan?
New Japan, they're going to be doing a couple of different tournaments here this month and into the next month. One of them is going to be the Best of the Super Juniors. That's going to start in about November 15th, and it's going to drag until about December 11th. That one's going to have a bunch of the regulars from New Japan, Master Wato, Bushi, Dookie, Tajiri Ishimura, El Desperado, Hiromu Tanahashi. All these guys are going to be facing each other in a tournament, which it's going to last over a long period of time. And then the finals of that one is actually going to start on December 12th when they start doing New Japan's Super J Cup, which has more of a cruiserweight feel to it for newer guys. And that one's going to actually have some guys from some of the other companies. Chris Bay and TJP from Impact are going to be in that one. Leo Rush is going to be in there, actually. El Phantasmo and Chuck Connors, who are part of the New Japan brand. Ray Orris, who a lot of you might know from AAA and also working in Ring of Honor. There also going to be a guy, Blake Christian, who I don't know a whole lot. And amazingly enough, ACH is going to be wrestling in that
good to see him back.
Yeah, after his little hiatus from doing wrestling.
The Mounties.
Well,
a long way from the Mounties and Raven managing him as Johnny Polo, right? The Quebecers actually is what they were, right? He was Pierre, right? Way back in the day.
But ACH.
I'm thinking of PCO, aren't I?
I think you're thinking of PCO, yes. Yeah. PCO, he does wrestle.
Now I got ACH. Oh, yeah.
ACH,
okay.
For those of you who don't necessarily know and all that, he was Jordan Miles in the WWE.
That's right, yeah.
He was the one that had the little issue with WWE about 6 to 9 months ago that was a very ugly situation, and he stepped away for a little while. But he did come back. And he's going to be...
I think he was in Major League Wrestling, right? I remember him from there.
He was in Major League Wrestling for a little while before he ended up going and signing with WWE.
Now, speaking of, Pierre, what's up with him?
PCO, well, in Ring of Honor, like I said probably a couple weeks ago, that they're slowly restarting their company and their program. They're going to be slowly bringing everybody back. So I'm figuring once they get through all their little protocols to make sure that nobody's sick or contagious and all that, they'll be bringing more matches back. Lots of time off, so a lot of the guys who had injuries should all be 100%. For a guy who's in his 50s and
I just like that. I like the idea that he's still out there wrestling, and I remembered him from, early 90s. The first episode of Raw, I think he was on the first episode.
You might be right.
Yeah, I think they were tag champions at the time, actually.
It's a good possibility that he was, but this guy, I mean, to go at it at his age and do the things he does. I mean, man, moonsaults, goes through tables, does swanton dives, not just on the floor, but on the table or on the mat corners.
Him against Matt Hardy or him against Jeff Hardy would be good, huh?
Oh my God!
At this point in their careers.
Oh my God! I can only see Jeff Hardy becoming the next PCO if he keeps
going. Well, if he keeps
going and doesn't kill himself.
He doesn't break down. Well, anyway, I got you sidetracked. So anyway, continue with New Japan.
Well, New Japan, those two tournaments, the Super J Cup and the Best of the Super Juniors, those are going to be going on over the next couple of months. So you'd be able to catch those if you're a person who has a NewJapan.com account. Or there are people out there that you can find that do show and promote ones like New Japan, Stardom, Yoshi Pro, DDT, where Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa came from.
Sure.
Those ones you can definitely find out there. You just have to sort of look a little bit. I mean, I found a guy out there who I use him to watch the matches and all that because that's something that he loves is the overseas and the luchador wrestling as well. So just search for it. It's not too hard to find, and when you do, just enjoy it because those matches are very lengthy and they're very entertaining and see how they do the stories and stuff. So for right now, New Japan, that's what they're going to be doing for the end of the year.
Okay. Anything else kind of in the indie world?
There is one little thing, a small side note with MLW. They are slowly coming back, and they should be doing tapings here pretty soon. From what I've heard, Brian Pillman Jr., British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith Jr. is going to be coming back. They're trying to set up some matches, one with Davey Boy fighting the champion, Jacob Fatu, who is a member of Contra. They want to try and make a heavyweight title match there. It was announced a couple of days back that AAA Cruiserweight champ, what was his name? My God, who was he?
Was that Roosh or not Roosh?
No, Roosh. Roosh and his brother is in Ring of Honor. Actually, it's the Laredo Kid.
The Laredo Kid.
I knew it was with an L. The Laredo Kid, who is a great cruiserweight wrestler. He has two other brothers who do it as well, but he's AAA's cruiserweight champ. He wants to go into MLW and fight their middleweight champ to try and unify those belts. And it should be a very interesting match because the fellow who holds the middleweight belt in MLW is a very talented young fellow. And I think the match that they'll be in will be a really spectacular one to watch. Hopefully, soon they'll be showing their episodes. I believe from what I read on one site, it should be on YouTube. On Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern time, so it'll be 4 o'clock in our area. And then if you have BN Sport, if you have that channel available on your providers, that one will be Saturdays at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully they should be coming back. I believe it's November 15th is going to be the very first show back where they actually have some matches. You'll be able to see guys where MJF and a few other guys who work for some of these other companies.
Like, could see old Manster come back, huh?
Yep, you could see Mance Warner and Jacob Fatu, Contra, Tom Lawler, Devon Eriks. They have a whole array of guys in there.
I would love to see Roman Reigns go up against Jacob Fatu.
That would be a really
that whole storyline they're doing now with Jay. I love it to be Jacob. Like, no, man, I'm the tribal chief. Ooh, Jacob Fatu, I don't think would take that one too lightly.
No, and Jacob has that traditional Samoan kind of body of his, where he's got the thick.
He reminds me of
thick
Umaga.
midsection.
Umaga, definitely, right?
Yeah.
Like a bigger Umaga, actually. He's kind of bigger or what?
I'd almost compare them to equal in size, but the difference is Jacob Fatu is way more agile than Umaga.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Seeing a guy like Jacob Fatu do basically almost the same kind of moonsault that Christopher Daniels does, with jumping from the mid rope to the top and then hitting it.
Right.
Very impressive for a guy his size. And he's a force to definitely to deal with. So Davey Boy gets a shot at him. That's going to be one I'm going to want to watch because it's just going to be a brawl. It's just going to be a beat him up.
And what about the Dynasty? You think there's any future there with JBL being?
Oh, you mean Richard Holiday and Alexander Hammerstone along with Gino Medina?
But Michael Jacob Friedman gone.
Well, I think it will. I think it gives Richard Holiday a chance to try and shine as a leader. He always looked like the sidekick, the henchman behind MJF. Now, I would have loved to have sort of seen him and maybe a few others, that kind of idea sort of follow into AEW because I thought it was an interesting little dynamic. But, it's in MLW right now. Holiday and Hammerstone signed new contracts from what I know. So that seems it's going to be there for a while. And I think it'll hold its own. I think there's possibilities with it.
Yeah, I'm eager to see the product come back on. I've been watching some old MLW the past few days. They've been posting the first episodes from the early 2000s with the Extreme Horsemen, Raven, and CM Punk going at it there. Okay. Kind of a feud that bleeded from Impact,
Oh, really?
It was kind of shared. Like a lot of those feuds back in the early days, after those companies, the ECW and the WCW were bought up, and you had Impact come in, you had Major League Wrestling, you would see those superstars, they would go from the product, they'd go back and forth, and you'd see a lot of those feuds, the Sinister Minister, Mikey Whipwreck, all of them, they'd share the shows. And one week you'd see them on Impact, the other week that you'd see them on MLW. But those are really good. I suggest checking those out, man, because it was kind of a continuation of ECW. That's where it was at that time, 2002. So a lot of the kind of overflow from ECW that Vince didn't take on, which was a lot, kind of went there. Even Joey Styles, he was doing the commentating there. So pretty neat stuff. All right, what else, man? We got some AEW you want to talk about last week?
Yeah, I mean,
we got the new show tomorrow night, but last week we had some good segments,
Oh yeah, there were plenty of good segments. I think one a lot of people really enjoyed was the continuation of MJF with the demo god himself, Chris Jericho, with their discussion about whether they should or shouldn't let MJF into the inner circle. They also had a nice little podium piece to go with the current theme of what's going on in the world right now here. And they had Luchasaurus, they had Peter Avalon, and this time it was kept quiet. They actually had Eric Bischoff at the podium asking questions of JF.
Oh, that was pretty funny. Jericho. He comes in, and he has his band to the history with Chris Jericho. It's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've known each other, over 20 years. So.
Well, also, too, when Chris jumped ship back in the day, he was one of those cussing out Bischoff. And, WCW wasn't run good and all of that,
The typical kind of stuff that seemed to happen in wrestling when somebody gets a little angry at their bosses wherever they work, So. It was a good typical, nice little come around with the two of them and the things that happened. MJF and Chris Jericho. And then that little thing sort of ended up leading up to a tag team match that's coming up this Wednesday. It's going to be Sammy Guevara and Ortiz against MJF and Wardlow. Which it should be an interesting one. Because
Wardlow's got a future, I think, if they do it right,
If it's done right, yes.
I can see like a big epic showdown like Wardlow and the Murder Hawk.
It could be him. I think the first one will probably be Jake Hager.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's outside right now training for Legit.
Actually,
there's an actual MMA going on right now.
Actually, Jake Hager had a match in Bellator, literally last Thursday, right after AEW had their show. He had a fight, and it actually came to a split decision in his favor. So he's still undefeated in Bellator. So yeah, congrats to Jack Hager. Doing the
I wonder if CM Punk's MVS.
Oh well, he's already like 4 times more successful than CM Punk in a steel cage. So, but it shows you, who actually has the good enough skill to be in something like that. So, but we had that match up there. We did also have a uniquely an NWA Women's Championship match. If anybody didn't know, AEW wrestler Serena Deeb actually defeated Thunder Rosa last Tuesday, 1 week ago tonight, for the Women's Championship for NWA. And she took on a young Russian gal, Layla. Her name escapes me. I've only got to see her twice. It was a good match. The Russian, she's a short, stocky, sturdy type wrestling type gal who was really good with her strikes, had some really good moves and offensive weapons against Serena Deeb. But Serena Deeb did get her in Conan's old finishing maneuver, the Tequila Sunrise, hooking the arm and half crab, defending and keeping the women's title that night. So it was a nice little match. Enjoyable, showed off Serena Deeb, who has been a veteran for a very long time. She's trained plenty of women, and gives her a little more spotlight, which probably well deserved. Someone who's been in wrestling hasn't got the recognition. But we did see a few other matches.
We got Kip Saban and the Best Man with their continuing feud with the Best Friends over the arcade unit. That has a name.
Alan? Was it
Alan? It was Alan, yeah. You did. I gotta be honest with you, the thing looked pretty hollow to me when it was hit. I don't think he was really playing anything on that thing.
Well, you know how it how it goes, right. That kind of stuff. They're just
most important prop ever.
Yeah, because I used to work with these kind of machines and all that back in the day, and there's no way they'd fall apart by you slamming into them like that.
Well, I just built an arcade one-up. It's more durable than that thing was, I think.
God, yes. That Alan, we hardly knew ye, but you were hardly durable to be anything but a prop. But that should be a very entertaining match for sure.
And then you got the Bucks continuing with them just kind of, nobody's safe from their super kicks.
True. I think a lot of people are looking forward to Full Gear with them fighting FTR. It should be interesting, especially with the stipulation of that if the Bucks do not win, they do not ever get to go for those tag titles ever again. Similar to what Cody did when it came to the heavyweight championship one.
Now there was that great match with Phoenix.
Do you mean, well, Phoenix had a great match with his brother the previous week, but he got hurt, and he had to give up his spot in the tournament to his brother, Penta El Miedo Cielo, and he went up against Kenny Omega. That was the last match of the night. It was a very great match.
Which is good because that's just the thing. When one of them gets hurt, it's kind of like, you still get a great match because so many people were looking forward to that one with Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, this match went back and forth. It had move for move some of the nastiest stuff. You saw Penta try and break Omega's arm. You saw Penta do basically a bouncing Canadian destroyer on Kenny on the stage. Not in the ring, on the stage.
Yeah.
And it looked
pretty vicious.
Pretty nasty. You got to see Kenny nail Penta with, God, I swear it had to be at least 4 or 5 V-trigger knee shots. In the rope, in the turnbuckle, in the middle of the ring. These guys really laid it out. They really showed what they could do in the ring. They showed the chemistry that they have. if there was a actual full crowd there, the crowd would have popped so hard. This match was definitely a good choice to have be the last match of the night. And in the end, you see Kenny Omega end up defeating Penta with the one-winged angel, even though he still had to use an injured arm to get him down. So Kenny Omega definitely in the finals for this number one contenders match. And that leads to the other one that started the night.
Yeah.
The first one being Wardlow and Hangman Adam Page.
And Wardlow looked good. He looked good in this match.
He
really
was
did.
dominant in the beginning. He gave Adam Page everything he could handle and more. He tried to hit him with his little knee shot in the corner, but Adam Page countered it with a nice armbar over the rope. Illegal, but still effective. And it took 2 buckshot lariats to get Wardlow down for a 3 count. And it showed Wardlow has power, durability. He's not a joke. He's not just some henchman. This is a guy I think has lots of potential. But we'll have to see what that potential is when he gets away from MJF, which I think is probably going to happen before the next summer comes up.
I definitely see the Diesel Shawn Michaels thing happening. He accidentally does something in the ring, maybe kicks him, or
He does something while if MJF gets into the inner circle, which I'm thinking he probably will, because that match between.
You know what he'll do? You know what, MJF? This will be something if he does this. This will be true to character, like Heenan did with Hercules. He'll sell him.
He'll just sell him off to somebody else.
Sell him off.
Who would he sell him to? I would say Taz.
Moxley.
I would say Taz would be a high.
Taz would come in. Yeah, if he kind of so my new protege.
Taz seems to be trying to collect some big guys and all that, even though he has Ricky Starks in there. Because as everybody knows, Taz offered Will Hobbs, Mr. Willpower himself, a spot in Team Taz, and Will Hobbs is yet to give anybody a response. I'm thinking Will Hobbs should be his own man. He got himself into AEW on his ability and skill. It would be best that he actually just
like Kurt Angle
do it. Don't
affiliate him with anything.
Show
right
that you're your own
bat.
man. Don't be a yes man and fall under the gang mentality like Team Taz likes to do.
Right.
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully, maybe this week we'll find out from Willpower, and maybe it'll end up being an extra match. Or a rematch against Brian Cage at Full Gear. That would be nice.
And what about Moxley? The build-up here. You into it?
Oh, I love it. Are you kidding me? 2 old friends. One who had a chance at something great, didn't happen the way he wanted, comes back. And an old friend who was jealous and upset that he didn't, fulfill a supposed promise of taking him and the others with him to the green pastures.
Right.
The jealousy, the anger, and the madness between 2 brutal fighters, because Moxley and Mad King himself, their match is going to be great for the championship at Full Gear. I think it's going to be just a drag-out, brutal fight. Eddie Kingston, he's great on the mic, and he's great at fighting and brawling. I mean, that's his forte.
They're doing a good job talking everybody into these stories. They got really good talkers in AEW right now.
Right.
Almost in abundance. I mean, when you think about just like who they have as managers. With Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Jake Roberts, even Vicky. Vicky has her thing too.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I like about AEW is that they actually have managers. A lot of companies
traditional sense too, not like escorts or like representatives like Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman never wants to be called a manager. You know what I mean? No. It's kind of like it reminds me of like back when Corny came in. And he was Yokozuna's advocate, but then he just kind of
eased
into a manager role.
I hate hearing advocate or whatever, your mouthpiece,
Yeah, and they did that with Flair too. How Heenan wasn't his manager; he was his
advisor or whatever. Yeah, no, I totally love the manager aspect that they actually brought in AEW because that's something that's been missing for a very long time. And I like that. I mean, Taz does it, Tully Blanchard, Ricky Guerrero, so on, and it's something that you'll see. Even Eddie Kingston has been doing that for the Lucha Bros and Butcher and Blade with them.
Eddie's got a very characteristic voice, familiar voice, so I do like that, I think he's got presence.
His promo ability is very above par when it comes to people. I mean, it's a really good one.
And when Pac finally comes back, maybe he'll be included in all that.
I think when Pac comes back, he's going to have an issue, and after this stuff, whatever way it comes out at Full Gear, I think Pac, who's supposed to be back on Wednesday,
Pac's back?
Pac is back. Yep, the bastard's returned.
Yeah, are you getting Pac-Man fever?
He's going to have a few things to say, and I think Eddie Kingston's going to want to listen because I think a few of those things are going to be pointed toward him.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll definitely just push him right into that big picture there with Moxley and King.
Right. AEW, I think they do a lot of things right. There are some things that they do need to improve on. Like many people have said, their women's division does need to be improved.
Definitely. One of the strong points of Impact, and I think we said this last time,
yes.
and NXT, But yeah, I mean, hopefully when the travel restrictions,
That's one of the things I think that hurt them is that they did have a lot of their women's division be women who came from Japan, England, or a country that did have the restrictions, so they weren't allowed to be here. That's one reason why Bea Priestley was let out of her contract because she was in Japan and wasn't able to come here and help build a division that could be something, but you can't build it off of 2-3 women if you don't have what it takes to build this division into something great. It's nice that they got Taya Conte, but they also let women like Jordan Grace, Tennille Dashwood, and Purrazzo slip through their fingers.
Can't believe they did that with Dean and Purrazzo.
Yeah, I mean,
she's a veteran.
Those kind of things. I mean, you don't want to say who you think's fault it is and all that, but in general, it's the overall's fault. If a person who's running the position, it should be the person who's their boss should say, like, hey, what do you think about this person? What do you think about that person? I know that there's a few ladies that are going to be free agents out there. There's a few that I've actually seen in the crowd at the AEW Dark, ones and all that stuff. One of them being Lady Tapa, who a lot of people might not know is the niece of the Barbarian who wrestled in the F.
Part of the Samoan dynasty.
Yeah, she's also connected into the Samoan family. I saw that she was out in the crowd the last couple of tapings. She's going to be on the AEW Dark that's on tonight. Hopefully, she'll be someone who'll be brought in because I think she has lots of possibility. I've even noticed a other indie woman that I've seen in Ring of Honor and in Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. Her name is Faye Jackson. And she, I think, would be another one that would be interesting. She's only been in wrestling for, I think 2 years. But she has personality, which I think would definitely help maybe bring the women's along, especially since they're waiting for all the women like Chris Statlander to come back from restrictions or injuries, something to help bolster and create something in them. I mean, truthfully, that's their only weak point. They've got a magnificent tag team division. I mean, it's filled to the brim with all sorts, the atypical tag teams, and then also the combinations like Janela and Kiss, and Hager and Jericho, stuff like that. And they're even giving opportunities to a lot of the guys who have fought on Dark a lot, like aforementioned Hobbs. recently Lee Johnson got asked to come into the Nightmare family along with the Gun Club, which I think is great for Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson's a great young prospect. I mean, he had that wonderful match. What was it, 3-4 weeks ago against that young British wrestler, Ben Carter.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
Bigger faction with the Cody and the
Slightly bigger.
Nightmare family.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Red Velvet also got brought into there, since her connection with Brandy Rhodes has been getting a little bit better, and since Allie has reverted back into the bunny.
Yeah, I like what I've seen from Red Velvet.
Yeah, she's got good possibilities and all that. But yeah, they're giving all sorts of opportunities to these guys. I mean, you saw Brian Pillman with Griff Garrison. Last week we saw Anthony Bowens and Max Caster together and all that against Best Friends on Dark. And I guess what they did in that match with the Best Friends and the way they were talking on the mic, from what I've seen recently, apparently they may get signed onto the roster and actually be brought in as a tag team. From what I've read, I guess they're going to be called the Acclaim. So, I mean, I'm figuring it must have to deal with a little bit of their attitude, that they came in doing the rap and rhyme and insulting Best Friends. But it's nice to see that they try and find tag teams from all these enhancement guys and stuff and try and make them into something, trying to build stars instead of, just grabbing people from elsewhere and throwing them in.
Wasn't that a game company in the 90s, Acclaim? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Video games?
Yes, it was.
Didn't they make the Gotcha game? Do you remember Gotcha?
I think
it was a gun, but then you made the video game. I think I have that one.
I think you're right. Yeah.
All right, well, did they make Friday the 13th, or was that might have been LJN? It was one of those other.
It could be LJ.
All right. Well, anyway, what about the rumor about Thunder Rosa though? Really quick, going to NXT. What do you think about that?
Yeah, she put on her, I believe it's the Instagram, that she put on there that she was debating on going to NWA, WWE, or AEW. There's rumor that she may be going towards WWE, but none of that's really confirmed.
Yeah, I heard the NXT, but closing this out just really quick. You want to hit on NXT? I watched Halloween Havoc. Spin the wheel, make the deal.
Tell me about that. I didn't get a chance to catch it.
Well, you had the women's championship match, and that was won by Johnny's wife, Candice LeRae.
Oh.
Yeah, she came out on top of that one. That was actually a pretty good match. I got a kick out of that one a lot. Candice, she's been around a while, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been around at least a year. Definitely for a year and all that. And she was a big.
And she's due.
She was a big darling in the indies. Yeah.
Yeah, I like her gimmick. With the pixie, the wings and all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. With her and Johnny going to the dark side.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought the Io Shirai and her, it was pretty good. Actually, wait, she didn't go over. I'm getting it confused now. Johnny was the one that went over because what it was they were both going up. They had championship matches for the spin the wheel.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay,
yes.
So Johnny faced the Archer.
Oh, Damian Priest.
And that match was really good. He went over in that. He won the championship there, so he's the first two-time North American champion.
Oh, really?
And the Io Shirai match, Io retained her belt. Oh. But it was a good match. It really was. But the one that I really liked was the cinematic match. It was Dexter Lumis against Leonard Skinner.
Oh, Cameron Grimes?
Yes, Cameron Grimes. I just call him Leonard. That's where it's coming from.
It's the hat.
But, it was just him just playing just being creeped out the whole time. And Dexter Lumis and he had zombie minions, and it was just all over the place. And
really?
And of course it ends with him being freaked out and Dexter, being the driver and driving off with him, But I just wanted to make a little quick point on that. But, I like Shotzi Blackheart a lot. I think she's very animated and, she's quite the character. Changing her outfits in every segment, but she was like the host.
Oh, really?
So she was spinning the wheel for the matches. And so it was really good. But on that note, I think we're going to sum it all up here, close it all up.
Yeah, I'd say it was a pretty good week of wrestling. A lot of interesting stuff. A lot of storytelling, especially going since Full Gear is the next big pay-per-view coming up. I think a lot of those matches are going to be very entertaining. The number one contenders match, the heavyweight match, the tag team championship match, the rematch of Sheeta versus Nyla Rose should be really interesting. It was a top match the first time they went at it. The card will be very interesting. Even the buy-ins got a bit of an interesting with John Silver of the Dark Order going against Orange Cassidy.
Oh, so you got fish against orange juice.
Yes.
All right, everybody, that's a good night for us. We're going to wrap it up here. Jason.
This is Sessel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, leave a
And
comment.
like it.
And hit the notification bell for all.
For all of it. All right, happy trails, y'all. Wrestling Figure Forum.
We'll see you next time.